Well, I just got home from teaching and just walked right in the door. Well, I went to the grocery store first. Walked right in the door and said, okay, let's make this video about the diminished scale. I just want to say first that, if Brooks or Connor are out there, please feel free to fill in some of the gaps that I may leave out about the diminished scale. There's a lot you can do with the diminished scale. But I was specifically asked about the half-whole diminished scale. And of course, it's a symmetric scale. Symmetric meaning it repeats the same pattern. So in the half-whole diminished scale, it goes half whole, half whole, half whole, half whole until you get to the octave. And it's a mode of the diminished scale, which is whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step. So as far as using the half-whole diminished scale, it is considered, or it is an altered dominant chord scale. Dominant meaning it has a dominant chord in it. So if you do the half step, whole step, diminished scale, you get A, C sharp, E, G. So in it is a dominant seventh chord. And we all know that dominant seventh chords like to resolve to things sometimes. Either half step down or up a fourth. So anywhere you have a functioning dominant seventh chord, you can pretty much use the half-whole diminished scale as a type of altered dominant chord scale. It's called altered dominant because it includes the flat 9 and or the sharp 9, or the flat 5 and the sharp 5. In this case, the the dominant diminished scale has the flat 9, the sharp 9, and the sharp 11. Flat 9, sharp 9, and it has the sharp 11. Some nice chords there. And it also has the 13th. So there's some different colors you can get out of it, dominant wise. So if you just isolate the 3rd and the 7th and the 13th, you get something that sounds very familiar and not as dissonant. But as soon as you start adding those ninths, you get those nice. So this would be dominant 7, sharp 9, 13, dominant 7th, flat 9, 13. And I'll go off on a tangent here, but if you take out the G, you get the F sharp major triad. So you could actually use the F sharp major triad over an A7 chord, which I don't have a backing track set up or anything. But just try it. Record A7 and then try out the F sharp major triad over that and resolve it to D minor and D major. So about the 4-chord angle, someone brought up using the half-whole diminished scale on 1 and it resolves to 4. Well, as soon as you convert the 1 chord to a dominant chord and it resolves to 4, whether it's major or minor, that dominant chord becomes a secondary dominant, and you can use pretty much any kind of altered dominant chord scale over that, and it'll resolve into the 4 chord. But specifically here, you can use the half-whole diminished scale. And one really cool thing about the diminished scale is, or any scale for that matter, is you can start omitting notes and grabbing subsets out of it. And one that I actually have been working on lately, in more of a blues context, and I was also asked about how can you use the half whole diminished scale in a non-jazz context. Well, if you take the flat 9 out, you get this really cool scale. It sounds very bluesy. You write that right there. You know, a lot of blues notes in there, but then you got the sharp 11. So it's kind of bluesy, but it's got that sharp 11, and you're avoiding the fourth, the perfect fourth, which, you know, is used a lot in blues. So I was about to go say blues habits, but so that's you can use that over the 1, 4, and 5 chords in the blues. It's just a matter of working it out on those different tonics, and then you have that. So I hope that was helpful. I hope I didn't skip anything. Like I said, if anybody else can think of something I might have skipped over, please feel free to elaborate. I'm going to eat some dinner now, y'all. Good night.